Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me. We're just going to ask you to mute your mic to prevent anyone from saying something while we're speaking. So, good evening. This is Mario Rosales, and we welcome you tonight to this informative meeting related to the magnet programs in our district. Just giving another more time for more people to join us as we get started. But this will be recorded in case there's somebody else that was not able to make it, so that way they can watch it later on. We'll be posting it on our website. There is also a Spanish version. También hay una presentación en español, si acaso quieren la presentación en español. So some guidelines before we get started. Participants will join into a waiting room. That's what's happening while we're doing this. And the presenters and the co-hosts are allowing them in as we speak. Participants will not have access to their camera, and their microphones will be muted as they enter from the waiting room. So they will be able to share questions via the chat, and the co-host will be able to answer some of them. Or you can wait until after the presentation and we can open up the floor to questions, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. As you're signing in, if you can't sign in, just ask for permission and they'll let you give you permission to sign in. In case you have any other questions, you'll know who to contact. To avoid connection and transmission issues, all participants will need to be muted and have their camera turned off during the presentation. So again, on behalf of United ISD, the Board of Trustees and our Superintendent, Mr. Gonzalez, we welcome you to this presentation, and we hope we can answer most of your questions related to the magnet programs. And of course, there'll be other presentations in February that will address other programs as well that are related to some of the programs that we offer in United ISD. Again, this is Mario Rosales, your Advanced Academics Director, and I'll be presenting the information in English. Mrs. Aguiar is presenting the information in Spanish. It'll be a different link. So hopefully, if you go to the Advanced Academics website, you'll be able to obtain the link if it was not shared with you by your campus, middle school campus. So before I get started, I would like to introduce some of the magnet deans that are joining us today. So we're going to start off with United High School. Mrs. Alarcón, if you would like to say anything, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Maria Alarcón, and I'm the very proud magnet engineering and technology magnet dean at United. Welcome to this meeting, and whatever we cannot answer tonight, you can always reach us out at our school. We will be there on Monday. So welcome, everybody.
Mr. Caroma from United South High School.
Good evening, parents, and welcome to our meeting tonight. It is cold out there. We trust that you keep being warm. I serve as the magnet dean for United South High School. Our magnet is for global business and advanced technology. And we trust that you will have information that will help you and your son or daughter make informed decisions with regards to their education. And we are very confident that either magnet for the district will be a place they can really prepare themselves for academic success in the future. Thank you for being here tonight.
Ya fue. Ya fue. Sí, ya fue.
Mr. Rosales, you're muted.
Okay, I was just saying to please mute your mic so that we won't hear anything that's going on and we'll not be able to hear the message. But Miss Elvira Gaona is the Alexander Magnet Dean, and she's not here with us today, but we have Miss Marta Cavazos. She's the Magnet counselor at Alexander High School. Miss Cavazos.
Good evening, parents. I'm Marta Cavazos. I'm the Health Magnet Counselor, and tonight I'll be representing Ms. Elvira Gaona. If you all should have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them, or you can also call us at the school. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I wanted to ask you a question. Is this just regarding the magnet school, or is it also for the early college?
This is only for the magnet programs. Early college has their own procedures that they follow.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So again, this information is in reference to the magnet programs, and then later on in February, we'll have other meetings, parent meetings, to help you understand the other programs we have in our district. This is being recorded, so that way, in case some of us are not able to join tonight, they'll be able to access the recording on the Advanced Academics website. And we'll be posting it as soon as
Mr. Rosales, you muted again.
I'm going to start off with the information, and then if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat, and the co-host, which are the magnet deans and some of the magnet counselors, will be able to answer them. And as soon as we're done with the presentation, if you have any other questions, we'll try to answer them once we allow you to speak via the unmuting your mic. So again, if you please hold your questions till the end, unless you type it into the chat, then we'll be able to address it right away. If we cannot address it, then we'll try to address it once you give us a call or you email us, and we'll try to address it as soon as possible. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the information. I did provide a link for signing in, if it allows you to, unless you requested the information. So I'm gonna see if I can do this again. I'm gonna share the link so that you can give us your information in case you want a question was not answered. So here we go. All right. So can everybody can see the screen? Marty, can you give me a thumbs up if you see the screen with the PowerPoint presentation? Thank you. All right, so the first slide that we have is that the application is due on Wednesday, January the 26th by midnight, because you have to submit it through our magnet portal. It will allow you to submit until midnight. If you're still unsure of whether you want to be in the program or not, just submit it as a draft. You don't have to submit it as final. And that way we'll have your application in the file in case you change your mind after the 26th. But if you do not submit any application, whether it be draft or in the final version, then we cannot have any documentation indicating that you applied for the program. So again, we encourage everyone to submit your application online through the magnet portal by January 26th at midnight. After midnight, if you did not turn it in, you cannot be considered for the program. So if you're still unsure of whether you want to join the magnet program or be considered for it, please submit as draft. Again, the magnet enrollment portal, this is the link so that you can submit your magnet application. There's several things you have to do. The link is magnetapply.uisd.net. If you click on that link, it'll pretty much take you to the site. Let me see if I can find the site. This is the sign-in component, but I'm going to take you to the site related to the Magnet portal. So this is the Magnet portal site. You'll notice that on the right-hand side, you can pretty much register, or you can pretty much log in if you've already registered. And this is the site where you have to submit the application. Each of the Magnet programs has a brochure in case you want more information about that. And there's also a video in English or in Spanish that helps you fill out the information that is being requested. So again, this is magnetapply.uisd.net, and this is where you have to submit your application, whether it be final or draft form, by January 26th by midnight. After midnight, they will not allow you to submit the application. So if you're still undecided, just submit it as draft with the basic information, so that way we can have your application in our files in case you change your mind later on. So submitting it as draft or final pretty much indicates to us that you're interested, and we'll reach out to you in reference to if we need anything else from you.
Mr. Rosales, they're asking if they will be getting a confirmation email saying that they did submitted their application.
Yes, the student email is the information that will be sent through them. So make sure you check your spam folder. All right, so we're back to the PowerPoint, and there's only one standard online application for any of the 3 Magnet programs you want to apply. So it doesn't matter whether you want to go to United, Alexandria, United South, it's the same application. You do require a GPA of 80, so you need to check with your counselor, check your 7th grade and 8th grade report card to see if you have that 80, but we only look at the core subject areas. So we're only looking at the core subject areas. So I'll explain to you what that means in a moment. So all this information, you can also go to the Advanced Academics website, and that will allow you to find any other information you would need. If you scroll on the right-hand side, if you scroll down to the Magnet information, it'll give you the Zoom recording. This is from last year, but it'll give it to you for next year once we post it for this year. I'm sorry, for this year. And then these are all the other pieces of information you might want to look at. The portal, you can go straight to the portal. You can watch a video in case your child wants more information about each program. You can watch testimonials as well, and even the PowerPoint is also posted at this website. So you'll have the early start pathway also, College Board resources, and all the people you can contact in case you have any questions. All right, so that would be the Advanced Academic website, and you'll know because it has my picture on there that you're at the right place. All right, so going on to slide 6, they will be given an opportunity once they go into the portal to rank their Magnets choice if they pretty much do well on their grades and their tests. So you have to mark it as which be your first choice, which one would be your second choice, which one would be your third, in case you know, some of these programs get filled up after we start making phone calls. So if you have the second and third choice written down, then we'll be able to call you and let you know that there's still room available. The online application must have the current phone numbers and email addresses of your child who's applying, the student email address, as well as the parent email address. There would be an on-site online testing date, and site must be selected based on the feeder high school that you're attending. And that is because of the current situation that we're in. So it does require a parent or guardian signed consent agreement that you can download from the site, sign it, and then upload it again. So that way we'll have permission to test your child. Now, remember I was telling you about the 80%? Well, you do need to have very good grades in math, science, language arts, reading, and social studies. We only look at these core areas. In the 7th grade, the final report card of the 7th grade, and in the January 2022 report card for the 8th grade, which is the fall semester. So we pretty much use those grades to determine whether you qualify to be able to take the test. Remember that the test that you'll be taking is called the COGAT, and it's a reasoning and problem-solving test. Probably you have never seen this type of test unless you've applied for the gifted and talented program. You are going to need a Chromebook or a laptop to take the on-site online COGAT assessment at the campus that you choose. You do require to bring in some pencils and earphones because the test is, you do need audio to take the assessment. All right. So again, the Chromebook is pretty much the one that in our district, every 8th grader should have one. And they do need to take it with them to the site in order to be able to test. And if you're not from the district, we do provide computers for the students. So that way, if you're not from United ISD, if you're from other areas like Harmony, United Day, Mary Help of Christians, St. Augustine, we'll be able to accommodate you into a room that already has computer desktops for you to take the assessment. Again, once we have your grades and once we have the score for COGAT, we're looking at 60% of your grades and 40% of your COGAT score will be used to determine your overall average. And that average is what we're going to use to rank the students so that based on how they rank, that's how they're going to be getting the phone calls in April. And I'll give you an example of that later. So the COGAT exam is the publisher, the company that provides the exam. It's called Riverside Insights, and that's the website. And I'm gonna take you there so that way you can see what the website looks like. But this is Riverside Insights, and if you scroll down, you'll notice that it's, if you click on COGAT, it'll take you there and it'll give you more information about the COGAT, what it is, what it entails, and we're looking at 8th grade. So we're using level 13, 14. We're using level 13, 14, and we are using form 7 of the COGAT exam in case you want to research it further. Again, form 7, level 13 and 14 is the COGAT exam that we use. The only information I can give you is that this is the publisher, Riverside Insights. They're the ones that pretty much provide the exam for us, and it has to be online and on-site. Again, please make sure you choose the right site where you want to take the test. All right, so again, the form, it's form 7 and it's level 13, 14. So if you look here at the very bottom, you'll notice that there's approximately about 90 questions. You'll notice that, I'm sorry, not 90 questions. It's the time that it takes in minutes to take each section. You'll notice that it's 10 minutes for test 1, 10 minutes for test 2, 10 minutes for test 3, 10 minutes for test 4, and it'll tell you the approximate minutes that it will take for each battery. There's 3 batteries: verbal battery, quantitative battery, and non-verbal battery. And there's approximately about maybe 20 questions in each area. So that way you'll be prepared to take this type of an assessment. So I'm going to show you some questions so that way you can have an idea of what it looks like. So for the verbal battery component, the questions look like this. You have verbal analogies. You have verbal classification. In the quantitative battery, you have numerical analogies. You have number puzzles. More number puzzles. Number series. Again, the exam starts about 8:30 in the morning. So by 12 noon, they should be done because of the number of batteries that are involved here or tests. The nonverbal battery involves figure matrices like this one. Paper folding like this one. And figure classification like this one. So again, we normally start at 8:30 registering the students. They go to their feeder high school to take this assessment. And I'll give you the dates as to when they'll be offered. The assessment will be offered. So that way you can get an idea of how to prepare for this. So again, we need the consent form so that your child can test with us. They have to take their test at their feeder high school. It's the same type of test. So no matter where you go, it's the same type of test. So the first test date, if everything goes well, is on February the 12th. That's a Saturday. And we start promptly at 8:30, taking students in to get them ready to take the test. It'll be at all the high schools, especially United High School 9th grade campus instead of the main campus. It'll be at United South High School, it'll be at the LBJ High School, and it will be at Alexander High School, the main campus. With the exception of United, it's at the 9th grade campus. Again, what time do you need to be there? You need to be there at that time. You have to have your Chromebook. Bring your charging cord in case you run out of juice. Make sure you charge it before you go to the test session, and we'll remind you. And don't forget to bring some pencils and some earphones, so that way you can hear the test, and it'll be without disturbing anybody else. So that way you'll be able to hear the questions and so on. If you can't do it on February 12th, again, notice that it's offered at all the high schools. So if you can't do it on February 12th, we offer it on February 26th. And it's between North United High School 9th grade and South United South High School. So if you're in the South feeder pattern, you take it at United South. If you're in the North feeder pattern, you take it at United High School. And by feeder pattern, I mean the middle schools that feed into those schools. And also depends on where you live if you're in the private school. So depending on whether you live in the North or the South, that's where you go to take your test. Again, you have to select which date you're going to take the test, so that way we'll know and how many to prepare for. And then the last opportunity you can have is at Alexander on March the 5th. And that one, anybody can take it if you have not been able to take it during the first 2 tries. So in terms of Alexander, it's anybody can take it that has not taken it the first 2 dates. So that would be your last opportunity to take the test. If you do not take the test, you cannot be considered for the magnet programs. Okay. Remember that in order to be able to get this out of the way, it's encouraged that you take it at the first online test administration. Again, be there by 8:30, so that way they can get started with all the things that they need to do to make sure that you get started with your test promptly. We need to check your Chromebooks. We need to make sure they have enough charge. You have your pencils, you have your earphones. All of that information is needed. Again, these tests are scored electronically by Riverside Publishing Company, so we do not grade them. It's Riverside Publishing Company. And we'll have the results in about hopefully by early March, middle of March or late March, so that we can compile all the data and find out where the students are going to rank. So that way we can start making the phone calls. Again, if you are applying to the early college programs, it is very important because they're going to let you know in February through lottery whether you're going to get into the early college or not. So at that point, you need to make sure that your child and you sit and discuss it. So that way they'll know what is it that they want to do. Do they want to go to the early colleges at LBJ United South, or do they want to go to the magnet programs? The beauty about United South High School Early College is that you can also do the United South High School magnet program. LBJ does not have a magnet program. We'll be notifying the students sometime between April 12th and 14th. You'll be getting a phone call, but before that, we will send you an email. The first 150 that are ranked, they will get an email to let them know what program they would like to have. So that way they'll know ahead of time what is it that they want to join, which program they want to join. So it's going to be a declaration letter of intent that has to be returned by April 22nd to reserve your slot. So before April 12 or 14, the first 150 that are ranked, the top ranked, will get an email, and we expect them to reply. So that way we can have an idea how many slots we're going to have for each of the magnet programs. So we'll start with the first 150 before April 12th through 14th. But during April 12th through 14th, we'll be making phone calls and asking parents and students, what is your decision? And we need to know at that moment, because we have to reserve the slots for the other students that are interested in the magnet programs. Again, if you're interested in the early college programs, please be ready to tell us on April 12th through 14th if you're going to want to be in the magnet program or not, because you're going to be getting that phone call, and we need to know at that moment. If accepted, a letter of intent will be mailed to the address provided on the application by each of the magnet programs that you choose. All students have to return this letter of intent by May the 2nd. If not, your place will not be saved. Okay. So again, there's a declaration letter of intent by April 22nd, letting us know that you're interested in the magnet programs. And then there's another one on May the 2nd that you have to submit, because the magnet program that you choose will send that letter to you, letting them know that you're going to be going to their programs, the magnet program of your choice. All right, so here's an example of how we do the phone calls. You'll notice that this particular document has the GPA in the first column, that's the grades. Then the COGAT exam score. Then we do the composite score, which is 60% and 40. And this is how we get this number. And then this is how we rank them. Whoever gets the highest composite is ranked number 1. So last year we ranked them from 1 to 1,000. And then on that day in April, we start making phone calls. When we make that phone call, they let us know what program they want to be in. For example, this person who was ranked number 1 several years ago wanted to go to United High School, so we recorded as United High School. Then the ones that are ranked from 2 to 16 wanted Alexander, so that's why they're labeled Alexander. Number 17 I got the phone going on, so okay, so then the one that's ranked number 17 wants United. And then when we get to 18 through 20, they wanted Alexander. So we start keeping track of where the students want to go. And then eventually when we get to number 28, they wanted United South. So after 500 and so forth phone calls, each of the magnet programs pretty much got filled with 150 slots. So in other words, we stop making phone calls once every single program has 150 students. And the program that usually fills up first is Alexander, followed by United South. So in other words, be prepared when we make that phone call to let us know what is it that you want to do in terms of whether you want to be part of the magnet program or not. Again, if you're going to be applying for the early college, there's a lottery. If you get picked, you need to let them know in April, if you got selected for early college, whether you want to do the early college or magnet program. Because on that day, we'll be calling you, and we'll also have the early college deans present, so that way they can hear your decision. If you have any questions, you can contact Ms. Alarcon at United High School Magnet, Ms. Elvira Gaona at the Alexander High School Magnet, Mr. Coroma at the United South High School Magnet, Mrs. Aguiar, which is the our coordinator in our department. And you could also call Ms. Moore or Ms. Dora Lopez. They are our assistants that are pretty much the ones that are answering the phone. You can call them, or you can email them, or you can also just email magnet@uisd.net, and we'll get, all of us will get the email, and we'll try to address whatever questions you might have. All right. So the next topic is that once you get into the magnet program, or once you get into high school, 9th grade, you have the opportunity to get into the early start pathway. And this is a dual credit program. It's a college program, college courses, where you get high school and college credit at the same time. With one grade, you take it at the high school, you get college credit and high school credit. Now, these courses are provided by Laredo College. Now, the presentation for this program will be sometime in February. So in order to get into the Early Start Pathway program, you do need an 85 instead of an 80. We use the same grades from the 7th grade and 8th grade report card. And you also have to take a test. It's called the TSIA 2.0. If you're an 8th grader in our UISD middle schools, they are preparing you for this test in English, language arts, and reading. Okay, so this test, you need to make sure you get greater than a 945 on the multiple choice section, and greater than or equal to a 5 on the essay. There's also other opportunities that if you get less than 945, you need to make on the diagnostic level greater than or equal to 5, and an essay of greater or equal to 5. So either of these scores will allow you to be able to be in the early start pathway. This is so that you can take college courses in high school that are offered by Laredo College if you want to be part of the program. So in other words, if you don't get into the early college, or if you pretty much are at United or Alexander, we have the Early Start Pathway program, which will allow you to take college courses, and you'll be able to get high school and college credit. The first meeting coming up in February, on the 3rd of February. If it's virtual, it'll be similar to this meeting. If it's not, it'll be face-to-face, depending on what happens. But this particular meeting is to explain to you the advanced placement program. And that's also another program that is offered at all the high schools, where you take the course, and if you pass the exam with a 3 or better, you'll get college credit. And then on February the 9th, we'll have a parent meeting to explain the Early Start Pathway program in more detail. Okay, so this is the first series of presentations to the parents. The first is for the magnet program. The second one is for the advanced placement program. And the third one is for the Early Start Pathway program. So you got a little taste of the Early Start Pathway program. All right, so we're open for questions. So hopefully we'll be able to listen to your questions in an organized fashion, and either of us will be able to answer it. If you would like to ask a question, you can unmute your mic, but one at a time, please, so that way we can hear it.
Hi, I have a question. If my son plays sports and he wants to continue playing sports, is that a problem, whether it's the magnet program or the early college program? Like, do the teachers work with them if they have scheduled activities that required for them to be out of the classroom?
The students are able to play sports if they participate with the magnet programs. We have plenty of students that they are participating on both, sports and the magnet program. As far as the work, we work with the students just the same way as, middle school teachers work with their students. Dual enrollment, it's a little bit different. We have professors that the students are working with the students, but they can, just talk to the teacher if they're going to be participating in a game or in an event, for them to submit their work, after they come back.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding the January report card. I don't have, they haven't sent it to me through mail. How can I submit it? Or can I like give you a from Tyler parent portal? Can I do that?
Yes, you can use the Tyler portal to print out the report card, or you can always contact your 8th grade counselor and they'll be able to help you with that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Are y'all going to verify, because I'm seeing in the chat and myself included, that none of us received any type of confirmation in our children's emails or spam? And so I know that now it seems all of us are in the same concern that how do we know for a fact that their application was accepted?
If you call your 8th grade counselor, we provided a list of all the applications that have been submitted through the portal. You can call them and they'll tell you whether the application went through. Also, if you don't see it in your spam folder, once you log into the portal, if you look at the upper right corner, it tells you when it was submitted, and it pretty much gives you a timestamp.
Thank you.
Sir, so then what you're saying is if it says final, that means it was submitted?
If it's final, that means that you're pretty much done with it. You don't want to alter it in any way. If it's draft, it means that you still are waiting for some other documents you need to submit or some of the information you're going to be changing later. Even if it's final and if it's before January 26th midnight, you can still change whatever information you need to change.
Right, but just for clarification purposes, my question is about the submission. The question was about submission. So ours says final, but I don't see any button there that says submit or anything. Once it's final, is that submission? Is that submission or what?
At the very bottom, it pretty much allows you to submit as final or submit as draft, depending on whether you have submitted all the documents that are needed.
I see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There were some questions in the chat about the headphones. We do ask, the students to bring their own headphones, but in the event that they do not have, we do provide some small headphones, for them, but we prefer for them to bring their own, something that they feel comfortable with.
Excuse me. For a student who might have technical issues with their Chromebook, my daughter has a UISD issued Chromebook that is always giving out on her. Is there going to be backup? Does she lose her progress on the test? How does the district handle that?
We have proctors in each of the testing rooms. So if there's an issue with the Chromebook, they're able to stop the assessment, and then we can continue on another day if that is possible, or we can continue later on during the day once the problem is resolved on the Chromebook. But the proctor in each of the rooms is able to stop the test. And that way, wherever they're at, they'll be able to stop the test, and they will not be penalized. Because once you stop the test, that means that they can't move forward, and whatever they've done pretty much gets saved.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Rosales. My question is, I went into my son's application and I must have missed some different dates for Alexander Feeder testing dates. Am I able to still change it?
Yes, you are able to change it until January 26th at midnight. After that time, you would have to contact us directly for any changes. And we know once you tell us where you want to test, you'll be getting an email. So we'll try to email the parents so that way they'll know what day your child chose, in case you were not aware. And also the 8th grade counselors are very good about calling the parents and calling the students and letting them know that, hey, reminding them that that's when they're going to be testing.
Okay, great. So then I'll get the confirmation of the new date after that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There's a couple of questions on the chat, as far as, the testing sites or whatever the students signed up for. At LBJ, I believe it's the main campus at LBJ. United South is the main campus at United South. Alexander is the main campus at Alexander, and United is the only one that we are testing at the 9th grade campus.
With regards to the dual enrollment, if the student already took the TSIA with the testing date that was issued in November, and they received a passing score, does the passing score matter what it is, or is it just the entrance criteria? It has to be the 945. In other words, if the student scores higher, do they have a higher probability of getting the dual enrollment, or it's as long as they get that higher than 945 and higher than a 5?
As long as they meet the requirements by the state of Texas, which is for the TSIA 2.0, if you score greater than 95, it doesn't give you a more of an opportunity to take the courses.
Okay.
Or not. Just as long as you pass, you're pretty much in. And the state is just looking for a college readiness.
Okay, thank you. And then Mrs. Alarcon, you mentioned, I know this is for magnet, but you mentioned that if the child is in sports, the magnet allows for it. What about early college? I don't know if you guys know the answer, but if they go to early college and magnet, if they decide to go that route, is sports still allowed under their main campus, or does the early college have a separate division of sports?
UIL doesn't allow, I'm sorry, UIL doesn't allow us to do that. So they are able to participate as long as they can handle all the courses that they're assigned. So if you're at a different campus, UIL does not allow us to separate by categories. If you're at the 9th grade campus, you pretty much belong to the main campus in the eyes of UIL in reference to sports or academics or band or fine arts.
Thank you.
Will transportation be provided? Or how does that work?
Yes, transportation is provided. It doesn't matter where the student lives. Let's just say that they live in the area of LBJ, but they are coming to United High School. There will be transportation to take them to and from home. And there's another question about if we're going to be testing in the gym or in classrooms. We will be testing in classrooms. Did I answer your question, ma'am, about transportation?
Yes. Would it be at the school location, or how does that work?
We pretty much, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you that if you have to be within United ISD boundaries. So just depending on where you are, where you live, you would have to go to that pickup point. So that way they can take your child to whatever magnet program they go to. But if it's out of UISD boundaries, you would need to drive your child to within UISD boundaries so that we can pick them up and take them to the school of their choice.
Mr. Rosales, are we going to have headphones for them like we did last time? There have been some questions about headphones.
You should have some at each of your programs. The only problem is that they might not like them because they're not high quality. So that's why Ms. Alarcon was mentioning to bring your own. I would recommend that they not be Bluetooth because you're not going to be able to use your phone. So you would have to connect them to your Chromebook, the headphones. So I don't know about Bluetooth, whether that is possible through Chromebook, but to avoid any of those issues, I would just get the ones that you just connect and get it over with. Yeah.
Oh, there's a question about the test, whether it's the same test. Yes, it is the same COGAT test for all the magnet programs.
I still have a question about the transportation. So let's say my son's going to Alexander next year. So if let's say he has class there, and then he's going to take his magnet at United South. Do they pick him up there at school, or I have to pick him up, or how does that?
Once you choose the magnet program, you have to go to the main campus. You cannot select the magnet program, let's say at United South, and the child is going to take the regular classes at Alexander. No, the child's also going to take the regular courses there at United South as well.
Oh, so in other words, I would have to enroll him at United South if
pretty much because according to UIL, you have to have your child reside within those boundaries and within that attendance zone in order to be able to participate in any of the extracurricular activities. So whether you're in the magnet or in the 9th grade campus, you belong pretty much to the main campus.
Oh, okay. So then he won't have to go to Alexander because usually that's the one that le toca, like that's the one that he's supposed to go, Alexander High School and high school. So, but once he's in magnet, then he would have to go to the one that he's going to, right? United South.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Yes, pretty much the student will belong to that particular school. Once they pick that school, if they pick, let's say United South, they enroll at United South and they become a student of United South.
Alarcon, I think a lot of the parents might, because their kids might barely be going to high school for the first time, a lot of the questions usually are, is the program at the 9th grade campus or is it at the main campus? And no, parents, we do not split up the kids. They go to the campus that pertains to the grade level they are in. So if they are in 9th grade, they attend the 9th grade campus, and once they go into 10th, they move over to the main campus. The program is not only in one building, it is housed throughout both high school campuses.
Excuse me, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have a question regarding the GPA. I'm driving, so I didn't get the part. It's 60% GPA and 40% COGAT for cumulative?
Correct.
No, that's not the GPA, that the composite score, when they calculate the composite score.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 60, 40, and 40% is the COGAT. Now, other question I have is on the GPA. I heard something about 7th grade and 8th grade. So it's their final, I guess their final average in the core areas from 7th grade, correct?
Correct.
And then up to where in 8th grade? First semester or?
The fall semester report card.
First, okay. And the third question I have, do the STEM science courses count as your core science, or is it just their regular science class? My son's at United Middle. He's in the STEM at United Middle. And so I was wondering about that course, just.
No, it's just counted as a science course, whether it's STEM or not.
So both science classes will be included in the GPA.
Yes, the science course that they're taking will be included.
Okay, and last question, I thought it was my last question. Where can we get that information from our, like the 8th grade school counselor?
You can get it from the
Like what
Advanced
their
Academics
GPA
website. And
Okay.
if you want more information, you can go to the Advanced Academics website, but you do call your 8th grade counselor to determine, they already have the averages for 7th and 8th grade, and they'll be able to tell you whether your child qualifies or not.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you.
You cannot start the program at the 10th grade. Magnet program starts from the 9th grade.
And
Hello,
that's
quick question about the testing date. If they do qualify, is the test timed or do they have all day to finish?
It is 9 sections of 10 minutes each. That's the regular time, that the students usually get, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
There will be transportation for early college for those students who are fortunate enough to be picked up in the lottery system.
Hi, good evening. Well, when will the students or the lottery take place? Would you have a time frame?
Could you repeat the question, ma'am?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was asking about, do you have a time frame? As I know that when students will be notified about the magnet by April. So for the lottery system for the early college, would that be around the same time that students would be notified if they were chosen?
No, ma'am, they get chosen in February for the early colleges. So then by April, they should already know whether they're going to go to the early college or the magnet when they get that phone call.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we got about a couple of more minutes. Does anybody else have any questions? We would just like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And
Moreno.
Marisol Moreno.
Sorry about that. I do have a quick question. I hope you don't mind. I'm actually looking at the Tyler portal, but I'm not seeing like the printable version of the actual report cards. So the format that is provided to us as parents, are we able just to download that and submit that?
Yes, but if you would like to, you can also call your 8th grade counselor and they'll provide you with the information you need.
Okay. Thank you.
Before the early college, and I know we're talking about magnet, but just for the early college, is there a set number just like the magnet program, or any kid that gets the 945 enters the lottery, but how many kids are picked out of the lottery?
It's similar to the magnet program. There's only a certain number that gets selected.
Do you know that number?
I'm not sure, but it's between 100 and 125, could be greater.
I can answer that one for you. For the early college, most students that get selected belong to the campus, that from the feeder pattern that belong to the campus. However, there are spaces available from the 3 other high school feeder patterns. So it's limited. However, there's always that chance that they do get in. And if they get waitlisted, depending on how many students choose magnet, even the waitlisted kids can still get in. So there's plenty of opportunity for kids to get accepted.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. A quick question about the test dates. If our child becomes ill close to their scheduled test date, who do we contact to reschedule so they can do it on another test date? Their 8th grade counselor or the magnet program themselves?
It's that email that I gave you on that PowerPoint. It pretty much goes to all of us, and we'll be able to take care of whatever situation you have. It's magnet@uisd.net.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is a very important question. I mean, of course, we want to keep everybody safe. And so if your child is ill that morning, please do not send them to school. We can definitely reschedule his testing date if he is ill.
Will you have the children test for COVID prior to going to the testing date?
We are not going to be testing them prior to the testing date, but anybody, like who wants to or participates on extracurricular activities, I know that they are testing them at school. I don't know how many extracurricular activities are still on, at the middle school, but as long as their parents, check their temperature, like before they leave, and they're not ill, we should be okay. We're following the same rules that we're following, while we're at school.
Okay, so you will not require a testing prior, nor will you do a screening before the test or before they go in. Just as long as the kid doesn't have any symptoms, you're okay with it. As long as it's kind of like, the honor code. You're saying you don't have it, you'll take the word of the child.
Yes, ma'am. It's exactly the same rules and procedures that we're following. We're going to come back to school on Monday. So, like exactly the same procedures that we're following in going to school, that's exactly the same thing that we will be following that same day on the testing date.
Okay, now the reason I asked is that I know like for extracurriculars, like if they're going to be participating in other stuff, then they test them. But that was why I was asking if you guys were doing the same thing with this. But thank you for answering that.
We communicate with the 8th grade campus very closely in reference to those situations. So we'll have information related to that from the campus nurse and from the district nurse as well.
Hello.
Just to clarify, you will be following COVID protocol as per right now, as in the schools with the shields and the masks, right?
The masks are not required. We do encourage every single student, and we recommend everybody to wear the mask. But as you know, at school, we're not enforcing that every single person wears the mask. As far as the shields, we will have them, for our students.
Okay, and the distance, will you be maintaining your at least 6 feet distance within the students?
We do not have the 6 feet. We do recommend all that, Ms. Hernandez. We try to encourage, as much as we can, but we're following exactly the same procedures that we're following in our actual schools at this point.
Okay, I understand. I understand the masks are not enforced right now. Okay, thank you.
Someone had a question whether or not students can only choose early start pathway program. The beautiful thing about our students nowadays, they have options. And the answer to that question is yes. If that's what they're interested in, they can only go with that program.
Do the students have to take the test at their feeder high school, or can it be at any of the 3 high schools that you have?
Preferably the feeder.
To be able to balance our numbers, we do encourage students to register at their feeder pattern, and this is just to balance the amounts of students testing at each site.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. Good evening.
I did understand that if the student makes it into the magnet program, then they are automatically enrolled in the dual, what was it called? The dual college or the dual education, right? Am I
Dual
correct? Is that
enrollment.
dual enrollment? There you go. Sorry. Now, is the dual enrollment similar to the early college?
It's similar in the sense that they are taking college classes, but it's different because in that case, they will be choosing the classes that they want to take once they qualify. The early college, they have a set number of classes that will lead them to get an associate degree by the time they finish the early college program. The dual enrollment will give them X number of hours for college, depending on what they are taking. The difference is this: the early college is based on a lottery system. You have to be selected in order to participate in the early college. The dual enrollment, you will have to get your TSI scores. Once you reach the criteria for those scores, then a student will be eligible to take college classes at that particular time.
And the only way to do the dual enrollment is through magnet, or no?
No, you don't have to
Okay.
be a magnet student to be in the dual enrollment program. You will
All right.
have to have passed your TSI in order to participate in the dual enrollment.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, sir. You had mentioned that to be in the magnet, you needed to initiate in 9th grade, correct?
That is correct.
As far as for the dual enrollment, if the child does not have that score needed, but then let's say in 10th grade, can she then apply for the dual enrollment, or it's not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes,
At the point when they pass their TSI, yes.
The
Thank
last
you.
opportunity would be as juniors.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. You all have a good evening. We appreciate everything that you are asking us. And if you continue to have any questions, just email us at magnet@uisd.net. Thank you for your time. Good night.
One question. Mr. Rosales, I just had one question. The TSI 2, it's just the ELAR portion or the math as well? I didn't hear anything about
Only
the math.
the ELAR portion.
So the one that they already took, if they already got the score, they're already eligible for the dual enrollment courses? Do they
No,
start
they
them
need to
off
have
as
an
in
85 average. They need to have an 85 average also.
also? Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.